Gate of Thunder, 1992 Hudson Saw for the TurboDuo. This was a pack-in game included with the TurboDuo. It's one of the first Super CD games, so it was not a game that you could play on the TurboGrafx CD unless you had the Super CD card. It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, probably my favorite side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game of all time. It's extremely fun, very fast-paced, and has a lot of weapon variety. The first power-up that you get, like that blue orb there, usually that would increase to your laser power. There's 3 different types of weapons that you have, but the first time you pick one up, it gives you 2 little sidecars. And if you double-click the button that you use to attack, which normally you just have held down, you'll actually turn those guys around and they'll fire behind you. There I picked up the S weapon, which is kind of like a shockwave type of thing, and I like that weapon when it's powered up all the way because it basically has range to pretty much fill the screen in front of you. But until it's powered up, it's not very strong because even fully powered up, it's not the strongest weapon. But I like it for its coverage. So I'm just on the typical laser beams right now. We've also picked up missiles, which allow us to shoot out some homing missiles, and those can speed up if you pick up a number of missile upgrades. And that third weapon that we picked up, E, is like I always consider it like Earthquake, and it shoots off in arcing the top and bottom of your turrets. Basically, it arcs up and down, so it kind of creates, it's almost like a grenade launcher effect. So we haven't yet picked up shields, but when we do, we'll have a force field effect that'll allow us to absorb 3 bullets. So we can, get hit a number of times. So there's our shield. It's green, and then it becomes blue, and then lastly it becomes red before it disappears. So you're allowed 4 hits before you actually crash. Because otherwise, you get hit once and you're dead. So here we got a second power-up on our Earthquake weapon, and it's probably the strongest weapon because of the way it attacks. Its range is kind of awkward, but it's really good in certain situations. Our little sidecar things are invisible, so what you might have noticed right there, what I did was I basically just let him go inside the ship and just completely deal a lot of damage. I'll do it again here, I think, too. Or maybe not, I'll just use the grenades. But those things, our little sidecars are really good. They can block bullets for us, they can do a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's really good to have them, especially since they can shoot behind us. So we're pretty much just laying waste to everything. It's just a really fun game. It's enjoyable. Even 20 years later, I still got a kick out of playing this game. I don't know if I've fully ever beat it. It's hard to say. I don't remember if there was a password save or a save file save. I might have finished this game. If not, unless I use some kind of unlimited cheat code, unlimited lives or unlimited continues code or something, I probably didn't beat it, but I can't really remember. We're about to attack or engage our first level boss, and it's pretty standard level boss. He's just going to fire at us a couple times. You have to avoid him, and then when he opens up, you just make sure you're hitting him. So let's see how this goes. Stage 1 clear, next stage asteroid. So here we go. We continue the level with the same power-ups that we had at the beginning, or at the end of the last level. The only one that we haven't yet powered up is, there we go, we just got the power-up. So you can see how much range and how much, basically anybody that's on the screen in front of us gets hit. And again, it's not the most powerful attack, this weapon, but it does a lot of damage to pretty much everybody at once. Right there, we already have full Earthquake weapon, so when we pick it up, it basically just kills everybody on the screen. And this weapon is really good for tight areas like this too, because we get into an area like this, and by the time they get close to us, they're going to be dead. So unless they show up behind us, there we go, another kill everybody on the screen method there. So unless people get behind us like this guy, and I don't know what I was thinking there, we pretty much take them down. So when you die, if you're using a weapon, whether it's powered up or if it's not the laser, you basically lose that weapon, or if it is the laser, you go back to just the default level 1 weapon. Another thing that I haven't yet done is that hitting the select button allows us to adjust our ship's speed. By default, our speed is 2, and if you hit the select button, you can go to speed 3, which means that your ship moves faster along the screen. Hit it again, it resets back to level 1, which means you're slower than the default speed. So it's usually just for, you know, your convenience. It's like your sensitivity, but it can actually serve a purpose in some of these areas like this, where you have to be really precise going through certain smaller corridors or whatnot. I used to play all the time on the speed 3, and I try speed 3 in a minute and kind of didn't do as well as I remembered doing when I was younger. Of course, I don't know the levels that well anyway, but speed 2 is probably pretty good default. Here are these things, we got to dodge these little piston type things that are coming in from the background. There's a lot of, you know, level interaction and things like that in this game, as opposed from just shooting enemies. The powered up laser is actually not my favorite weapon. I actually prefer the single level lasers because they're quicker, but they do go through everything. If it hits something, it doesn't stop. It keeps going through enemies, so it can actually hurt multiple enemies. It's kind of nice thing about it. So they are kind of strong in that regard. Here I'm getting my rockets again. Now I'm on the 4th. Or the fastest level of rockets. You can see how fast these go. There's actually a hidden extra life up there, which I didn't do a very good job of getting. But now I'm playing on the super fast level 3 speed. And you can see that I'm moving around the screen fairly quicker. And now I just slowed it down, and I'm back to normal speed. Just because I wanted to get a feel for how fast each one of those moves. And there is a difference. There's a pretty noticeable difference between the different sizes. Cleared the screen again of all enemies. Okay, it's time for the second level boss. This guy basically shoots out lasers that make 90-degree turns, and you just have to avoid them. Like that. And then he shoots out his little surrounding things before rinse and repeat. So he actually shot me right there, but so I lost my super laser, and I got killed right there too, and lost my my shockwave. But it's alright. He's gonna die right about here. There he goes. So stage 2 clear. Next stage is the mine. So this is another level. It's got a lot of tight corridors and falling rocks and just everything you'd expect from a mine. We're going to get a power up here and get our little buddies to help us out. Now the earthquake weapon is really useful here because, especially during the falling rock parts, because it just kind of causes explosions to occur near where the blast radius is. And it makes this part a lot easier. But there's some narrow corridors. The helpful tip when you're playing this game is really just to keep your eye on your character and not worry about your little sidecars, and just try to realize where the enemies are and if they're shooting, where their bullets are going, and you'll go pretty far as long as you can remember to avoid the things. The enemies are pretty much going to get hit, especially if you're using the shockwave weapon. And as long as you keep the bullets off you, you'll go very far in this game. But, so yeah, here I'm using the shockwave, and it really does a good job of blowing up these rocks before they get too close to us. We have our power-up shield, and we use the power-up there to destroy everything on the screen. There's some doors that are trying to close on us. You got to blow them up before they crush you. So this must be like the mine. This door kind of reminds me of the door from Contra, the original, the first screen door in the first level of Contra. I don't know why. I guess it just has a similar vibe. So we're just gonna drop us. All right, here we are. We're gonna use our shockwave weapon. This is really good in this level too because a lot of the enemies are not terribly strong, and it just hits a lot of them. They just die because you're gonna hit them with your not only is your beam really wide, but your other turret's beams are really wide, and it just makes a lot of contact. You don't have to aim you don't have to be so good at aiming. You just have to make sure that you can stay around, stay away from some of the bullets. It's really a helpful weapon. It's my favorite weapon. I prefer this weapon. And next, I prefer the single laser before I prefer the double earthquake, only because it's got limited usage. Here you go. Make sure you turn around, shoot behind you, turn around again, so that when he gets back in front of you, you can fire him. Just a really fun game. It's probably one of my favorite TurboDuo games. It was the first TurboDuo game I played, and it was my favorite. Here's just some lava you got to avoid. There's another guy that's going to be behind us, but we blew him up. So, yeah, I'll just leave you with Gate of Thunder. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Until next time, see you later.
Clear. Game over.